The red and blue lights flickered across my quiet ranch, washing the fields in uneasy color. That Saturday evening, 3 patrol cars rolled up my gravel driveway. Their sirens were silent, but their presence spoke loudly enough. I set my coffee mug on the porch railing and walked toward them, boots crunching against the stones. The lead officer stepped forward, resting his hand near his utility belt, not on his weapon, but close enough to make a point. "Sir," he said evenly, "we received a 911 call about suspicious activity and possible trespassing on this property. I'll need to see some identification." Moving slowly, I kept my hands visible as I reached for my wallet. "Officer, my name's Marcus Chen. I own this ranch. Mind telling me who made the call?" He glanced at his notepad. Caller identified herself as Karen Whitfield, president of the Willowbrook HOA. She claims someone unauthorized is occupying this property and refusing to leave. A faint smile tugged at my lips. Karen Whitfield. Of course. I knew exactly who she was, though she had no idea who I really was. Things were about to get interesting. "Officer," I said calmly, "I bought this ranch 6 months ago. I've got the paperwork inside if you'd like to confirm. Also, this land sits half a mile outside Willowbrook HOA's jurisdiction." 2 weeks earlier, I'd met Karen for the first time. My peaceful Sunday morning was interrupted by an impatient knock. When I opened the door, there she stood, mid-50s, a fitted blazer despite the heat, gripping a clipboard like it was a weapon. Her hair screamed, "I demand to speak to your manager." "I'm Karen Whitfield, president of the Willowbrook Homeowners Association," she announced, not bothering with a greeting. "We need to discuss your violations." I leaned against the doorframe. "Violations? You must be mistaken. This property isn't part of any HOA." Her eyes narrowed behind designer glasses. "That's where you're wrong. Willowbrook HOA has expanded its jurisdiction to include all properties within a 1-mile radius. You'll need to register and bring your property up to code." I stayed patient. "That's not how HOAs work, ma'am. You can't just decide to expand your authority onto land you don't manage." She shoved a thick packet of papers toward me. "These are your violation notices. Your fence color, unauthorized livestock, and that barn. Don't even get me started on that barn. You have 30 days to comply or face fines." I didn't take the papers. "Ma'am, this is private property. You have no authority here. Please leave." Her face flushed red. "We'll see about that. I know people, important people, you'll be hearing from. Our lawyers." After she left, I installed security cameras, lots of them. Night vision, audio, high resolution. Something told me I'd need proof. I was right. Within days, fake violation notices appeared on my gate. Bogus HOA letters threatened fines in the thousands. Then she got bold. One morning, I caught her inside my property line taking pictures of my horses. "Ma'am, you're trespassing," I called, making sure the cameras caught everything. "Leave immediately." She smiled like she'd won. "These horses aren't registered with the HOA Livestock Committee. That's a $500 daily fine per horse." I sighed. "There is no HOA committee here. You need to leave now, or I'll call the police." "Go ahead," she sneered. "Sheriff Thompson is my brother-in-law." I didn't call, yet. Instead, I documented everything. Each fake notice, every voicemail, every trespass. I was building a case. What she didn't know was that I wasn't just a ranch owner. I was the senior vice president of development for Pinnacle Property Group. the same company managing Willowbrook HOA's legal and operational contracts. Things escalated when I refused to register my horses. That's when she made her biggest mistake, calling 911 to report me as a dangerous trespasser on my own land. So now I stood in my driveway, surrounded by flashing lights. The lead officer checked my ID and looked up. "Mr. Chen, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. You're clearly the legal owner. We'll need to have a word with Ms. Whitfield about filing a false report." "Officer," I said, "I think I can help." I opened my laptop and pulled up video files. Here's 2 weeks of footage. Trespassing, fake notices, threats. You'll want to see this. 20 minutes later, the officers watched in silence. Each clip made their expressions harden. "Mr. Chen," the lead officer said finally, "would you like to press charges for harassment and trespassing?" I thought for a moment, then smiled slightly. "Let me make a call. First, there's a bigger issue here." I dialed a number from memory. "Janet, it's Marcus." "Chen, bring Richard from HR to my ranch right away. We've got a situation involving one of our HOA board members." "Yes, Karen Whitfield from Willowbrook. She just filed a false police report against me." A sharp intake of breath came through the phone. "We'll be there in 30 minutes, Janet replied. "I'm so sorry, Marcus." When they arrived, they weren't alone. Karen was with them. They'd told her there was an urgent HOA meeting. The confusion on her face when she saw the patrol cars was priceless. When her eyes landed on me, outrage took over. "What's going on here?" she demanded. "Why am I at this trespasser's house?" Janet stepped forward, her tone like ice. "Ms. Whitfield, are you aware that Mr. Chen is the senior vice president of Pinnacle Property Group?" The color drained from Karen's face. That's not possible. He's just some guy who bought a ranch." Richard cut in sharply. "A ranch that sits outside HOA jurisdiction. You've harassed him, trespassed, and filed a false report. Do you have any idea how serious this is?" Karen's voice shook. "I was just doing my job. The board voted to expand authority. I have documentation." "No," Janet said coldly. "You don't?" "I spoke to the board. There was no vote. You acted alone, abusing your position to intimidate homeowners. It ends now." The officer stepped in. "Ms. Whitfield, filing a false police report is a misdemeanor. You knowingly reported a fake emergency. You're being cited for false reporting and harassment. This is ridiculous." Karen sputtered. "My brother-in-law is the sheriff." "Former sheriff," the officer corrected. "He retired 3 years ago. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and a $5,000 fine, plus any civil action from Mr. Chen." Richard cleared his throat. "Effective immediately, you're terminated from the Willowbrook HOA board. Pinnacle Property Group is ending all association with you. You'll also be personally responsible for any legal costs resulting from your behavior." Karen's face twisted with disbelief. "You can't do this. I've been HOA president for 8 years. The neighborhood," Janet said firmly, "needs someone who follows the law." She turned to the officers. "Escort her home. Tomorrow, security will collect all HOA property files and keys. If she tries to access anything again, press additional charges." Karen's defiance crumbled. Her clipboard slipped from her hands and hit the ground. "I was just trying to maintain standards," she muttered. "By inventing rules and harassing homeowners?" I asked quietly. You turned a volunteer position into a dictatorship. The officer handed her a citation. You'll receive your court date in the mail. Stay 500 feet from this property, or you'll be arrested. As she was led away, she mumbled about unfairness and ungrateful neighbors. But her empire had fallen. The HOA queen had finally been dethroned. Janet turned to me. Mr. Chen, we're deeply sorry. We'll be reviewing everything she did as president. I appreciate that, I said. Just make sure the next board knows their limits. When the cars pulled away, silence returned to the ranch. The red and blue glow faded, leaving only the sound of crickets and the soft snort of horses in the distance. 3 weeks later, 2 letters arrived. The first, from the district attorney, confirmed Karen pled no contest to filing a false report and harassment. Her sentence, 6 months probation, 100 hours of community service, $5,000 in fines, and $8,000 to cover my legal fees. The second was from the newly elected Willowbrook HOA board. A formal apology. They'd discovered she'd been embezzling HOA funds for years, nearly $50,000 siphoned off during her reign. I set the letters aside and stepped into the sunlight. My horses grazed peacefully, free and unaware they'd been the cause of so much chaos. Sometimes, you don't have to fight a bully directly. Sometimes, you just let them go too far, until they hit something much bigger than they ever expected. In Karen's case, she swung at a ranch owner and hit her boss's boss instead. Her $13,000 in fines and legal fees became a harsh reminder that power, when abused, always has a price.